It is a very historic day, folks, when it comes to India women's cricket and in particular women's cricket the world over. The International Cricket Council has released the first ever Future Tours program for the women, and it is in a 3-year period, 2022 to 2025. Normally we would associate the Future Tours program with the men's, but for the first time, August 16th, 2022, we have finally seen women's cricket get their Futures Tour program. Now, what is India's schedule here? There are a lot of very interesting and historical bits in this Futures Tours program, folks. Because in this, I will break down what are the series for India women's cricket, as well as the away, home, and what are the major ICC and multi-nation events that are going to happen. So, as I had mentioned at the start of the broadcast, this is the first ever women's FTP and it extends from 2022 to 2025. In fact, when India played their series against Sri Lanka and also participated in the Commonwealth Games, that was the start of this new Futures Tour program. So already India played 3 ODIs and 3 T20Is in Sri Lanka. That was their start of the Futures Tour program. What are the key series and the takeaways for India's FTP in 2022-2025? Look at a bit of disappointment by saying that India will play only 2 tests in 3 years. But those 2 tests are against Australia and England. I'll come to that a little later. They will play England and Australia at home, which is very, very historic. The Asia Cup T20, that will be held in October 2022, the Women's Asia Cup T20. One hopes that India can continue their fine run in this tournament. The men have already dominated, now it's a turn of the women to dominate. Apart from the 2 tests, there will be 27 ODIs and 36 T20Is spread across the cycle from 2022 to 2025 for the India women's cricket team. The T20 World Cup will be held in 2023 in February in South Africa. This is a very important tournament because remember, India are on the upswing, and in the last edition of the T20 World Cup, they unfortunately flattered to deceive. In the final they were absolutely hammered by Australia. And the T20 World Cup will once again start in 2024, and that will be in Bangladesh around September and October. Remember, Bangladesh did host the T20 World Cup, which was in 2014, and Australia achieved success there as well. Apart from the 27 ODIs, 36 T20Is, we will also see a historic first for India as well. In this cycle, India is going to host the ODI World Cup in 2025. They last hosted the ODI World Cup, remember, in 2013 when Australia defeated the West Indies in a pulsating final there. Ellis Perry, that was the rise of Ellis Perry as one of the greatest. The last ICC event that India hosted was the World T20 in 2016, and remarkably, West Indies went on to win that tournament, breaking the Australian hegemony at that time. Now, this slide is very important for people who want to mark their calendar and see when is women's cricket, India women's team, when are they playing? Well, they have already played 3 ODIs and 3 T20Is in Sri Lanka, and they are going to play 3 ODIs and 3 T20Is against England in September. Okay, this is coming up. 5 ODIs versus Australia in December 2022. That will be a home series. But these 2 are very important. 1 test, 3 T20Is versus England in December 2023, which will be at home. This is the major one. 1 test, 3 ODIs and 3 T20Is versus Australia in January 2024. Why are these 2 series very important, folks? Can you believe it? The Australia women's team last played a test match in India in 1983. 40 years later, the Australian women's cricket team will play a test match in India. India had created history when they had toured Australia after a gap of 15 years. That is the discrepancy that we have between the men and the women. The men tour 2 years, 4 years, but 40 years later, the Australia women's cricket team arrive in India. For England, they will come to India for a test match after 16 years. They had last played in 2006, 2005-6 period. After a gap of over 16 years, they will come to India to play a test match. So folks, this is your itinerary in a nutshell. Remember, there is also the Asia Cup, there are 2 World T20s, and there will be the ODI World Cup that will be held in India after a gap of 12 years. So this is a very historic futures tour program, folks, because for the first time there will be a proper compartmentalization of where India will play, in what month and what year and what venue. I have said that in this, there is also going to be a tri-series that will be held in South Africa, which will include India. So that is one of the 27 ODIs that will be held in that period of time. So 27 ODIs, 36 T20Is, that gives you, and 2 tests, 65 ODIs, 65 matches over a period of 3 to 4 years. That is how India is going to play. Ever since their success in the Commonwealth Games and also in several ICC events, India women's cricket team are on the upswing, folks. 2017 heartbreak, 2018 frustration, 2020 heartbreak, 2022 heartbreak, and now the Commonwealth Games heartbreak. India women's cricket team is slowly growing, and one day there is hope that they break the Australia and England hegemony. But the key takeaway is 2 tests at home against Australia and England after a gap of decades. This FTP is surely exciting, folks, and the ICC will be hoping that now women's cricket gets its proper due and attention. Thank you so much, folks, for listening to this live. We'll be back with more updates from Sports Today. Press the like, comment and share button, and we are also there on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, folks. Bye-bye.